Now, at number 14, we're coming to a little odd song that I didn't discover, one of the few that I didn't discover back then. I never heard it back then. I heard it a couple of years later in Swedish radio, in one program only, called Kulan I luften. But this song it might be one of the funkiest songs I know. It's such a amazing production. It's hard to sit still when I'm listening to this one actually. So I'm sitting wiggling in a chair when I listen to it. I'm talking about the big lady with a big voice, Jennifer Holliday, and No Frills Love. Such an amazing funky beat, and definitely one of my favorite soul tracks. Number 13 we're coming to, and back to Germany, back to Michael Cretu, because he has done a production, but he's not singing here. We're talking about one of my absolute favorite singers that will be a whole lot on future charts, future 80s charts. Talking about Sandra. Maria Magdalena, you saw, was a bit lower down, and I also had an album track, lower down, Sisters and Brothers. But the best songs from Sandra this year, a song that I wanted to have higher up, but there are 12 other songs above. In the Heat of the Night. And this is Michael Cretu production at its almost best. When it is a dreamy, atmospheric synth disco, and Sandra, one of the most gorgeous women ever, is singing so fantastic great. So this is an amazing song. I think this is actually her second hit in her career. We're having number 12, coming to another song from that actually was one of the first songs that made me be a pop nerd. When I listened to a certain radio show, Swedish radio show, and it only said, "Wow, I wanna have these songs." And this single has been with me for ages, and it's my favorite song from this band, "Dead or Alive" and "In Too Deep." Also a band that have numerous songs from their album Youthquake below the chart, including their biggest hit, "You Spin Me Around Like a Record." But I think this one is their best, "In Too Deep." It is their third single from that album, and a little better melody, actually, not as catchy as the other one, but still a fantastic great melody, and Stock Aitken Waterman, early Stock Aitken Waterman production. You think I would leave them out? Not a chance. You will see a whole lot of Depeche Mode, and of course at number 11 it's called "A Heart." Once again, it's autumn 1985, and this is a song that Depeche Mode themselves never liked. They thought it was a pretty silly disco song, but they were talked into releasing this as a single. In England it wasn't actually hit at all, but here it became a pretty good hit, number 3 at the tracks chart among other, and I think actually it's a great song. This is from their the singles compilation, where that had 2 new tracks, and this was one of them. It's called "The Heart," a fantastic, great song. Now we're coming into top 10, and at number 10 we're coming to maybe the song that is was the biggest song this year. It definitely was the most selling song in Sweden in 1985. Spended then record-breaking 16 weeks on the tracks chart. And I'm talking about Bryan Adams and Heaven. And unlike many other years, when the most selling songs in most cases are extremely overplayed, I think this one actually still is an amazing song that I can listen to over and over. Actually, I think it's because since Bryan Adams after this have had so huge successes in more modern times with Everything I Do and Please Forgive Me and All for One and all those hits. This one has become a little bit in the shadow actually. The further from the 80s we have been coming. So here it actually isn't that much overplayed nowadays. But I still think it is an amazing song. Amazing ballad. Definitely one of my absolute favorite Bryan Adams songs. And another iconic 1985 song at number 9. And this was a song also that I fell in love with so hard when I heard it. And of course, I was very, very young back then. I was 10 years old going 11. And a song with different kind of samples and sound effects. Of course, that was candy for me. So I love this song extremely much. I'm talking, of course, about Paul Hardcastle's Vietnam song, 19, the average age of the soldiers in that Vietnam War. And as I've shown multiple times, Paul Hardcastle's debut album with this song, though in an album version, was the first album ever that I bought. So this song have meant a lot to me. So maybe not that much in lyric, but when it comes to the song itself, because it's so amazing how you can take different kind of samples from the news, from various news programs and sound effects, and put them together as one song, and make it sound so amazing fitting. Because it's not a mishmash of different kind of sound effects. It actually sounds like a real song, even though it's mostly sound effects. Number 8. I keep pulling out one 85 classic after another. This one wasn't as big hit in Sweden actually for some reason as it was in other countries as USA. If I'm not wrong, it was huge in the USA, but in Sweden it didn't become. It actually was a grower. It had been growing to a classic afterwards, which is pretty impressive because not many did that back then. I'm talking about Mr. Mister's Broken Wings. Back then, I'm talking a lot about Tracks Chart because that was the main program that I listened to through the entire 80s and 90s too. And back then it only went to place 13, while the follow-up Kyrie made to second place. So here in Sweden, Kyrie became a bigger hit. But Broken Wings is so amazing atmosphere. Calm, atmospheric, relaxing. Especially I love this instrumental part all of a sudden that the song goes into. And fantastic song from a fantastic album, Welcome to the Real World. Underrated band, definitely, Mr. Mister. Now, synth pop classic for me, but today I think it's a bit forgotten actually. It's a band that only made one album and a couple of singles before disbanding. I'm talking about Swedish synth pop group Fake and their winter song Brick, that was released back in December 1985. And when it took a while before I heard it actually, and when I heard it, it actually knocked me down. What an amazing production. Amazing disco, synth pop disco track with fantastic synthesizers. With these three guys. And amazing album New Art, synth pop classic. That this song though is not on actually. It was released afterwards as a single, as an only single, the last single before they disbanding. Unfortunately. Now we're going in to number 6. Staying in Sweden, but in a whole different genre. The album I'm showing right now is not the correct album. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find the correct album where this song is on. Actually, I have it, but I cannot seem to find it right now. So the album I'm showing now is not the correct album, but it will be symbolizing this artist right now. I'm talking about the Swedish singer Anna-Lotta Larsson, an artist that I haven't paid that much attention until recently, when I suddenly discovered that she actually is a great singer. She does light pop, she does ballads, she sings her own versions of Swedish poets, and she's a comedian, an actress, you name it. But in 1985 she released an album with a song that totally knocked me out when I heard it years later on a cassette with a compilation called Mr. Music. And on that one there was a song called Voga en dröm, Dare a Dream. And it was really relaxing, it was soft, it was almost like summer night music, countryside summer night music, and I loved it. And that song really is such an amazing relaxing song. So I got to have it actually on this chart, even though it was hard. I never heard it on Swedish radio back in 1985. But number 6, Voga en dröm med Anna-Lotta Larsson. Little oddity among the others. Number 5, now we're going to France, and a band that even to this day, almost 30-40 years after, they're still one of France's biggest bands. And I'm talking about French group Andersen. They were number 8, I think, on the 1984 chart with Cowbong, and they are number 5 in 1985 with Canary Bay. And I really love this French group because they are so special, new wave-ish, but at the same time they're mixing with some oriental sounds and new wave. And this one is really great song, and a little special touch that they're singing in French also. So definitely a song I remember from the spring of 1985, and some of my earliest discoveries of pop music. So number 5, Andersen, Canary Bay. Now, getting close to the top. At number 4, we have a song that still to this day actually means a whole lot to me. Brian Ferry, Slave to Love. And this song still means a lot to me because I've said many times before that I've shown from a place called Spikarna, archipelago here in Sundsvall actually. And I said that if I haven't been there during at least one day during summertime, laying on the cliffs, watching the ocean and listening to Slave to Love with Brian Ferry, it hasn't been a summer, because this is so... it's very few songs that get to be much more summer for me than this song. Real relaxing and smooth and cool song, as is much of the album that this is from, Boys and Girls, actually is. definitely among many great songs, this is my favorite Brian Ferry song. And maybe there's only one song that is much more summer to me than Brian Ferry's Slave to Love, and this one as number 3. We're coming to Mel Precision, and bronze goes to one of the songs that I consider the best summer song. And it doesn't sound that much summer for many, but to me it is real summer because it was summer when it was released. I heard it during the summer, and I heard it, on a special occasion during a vacation time that I was on back then, coming to a place, a port outside Örnsköldsvik city, right above Sundsvall, and watching the ocean, and just been hearing this one in the cassette player in the car. British group Go West and their song Call Me. And this is also a song that a group that have many songs from their debut album. Maybe one of the best albums of the 80s, if not the best album of the 80s. If I'm going to name my favorite album of the 80s, but definitely one of the best, definitely the best album from 1985, their debut. Call Me is an amazing, atmospheric and great production. So fantastic melody, and instrumental synthesizers. Everything is so amazing, atmospheric, and real soothing. So, in my opinion, this is one of, definitely, if not the best summer song of in the world. Now, number 2. We're coming to the band, and of course, Depeche Mode, Shake the Disease. Shake the Disease was the song that made me discover Depeche Mode, when a friend to me that we had in common, we will listen to Alphaville, and he also recommended me to Depeche Mode, that I've heard of back then, but I haven't heard any real songs by them. So I listened to this song that was popular back then, and it struck me, oh, amazing great this was. Amazing production, amazing sound, and if I'm not wrong, it was a song that Dave Gahan himself, according to the autobiography that I'm still trying to go through, that I've shown multiple times, that Dave Gahan wasn't seen that much as a wanted to see as a single, but it became a single and it became a huge hit, and this compilation, the singles 81 to 85, and so definitely a classic. And still to this day I can listen to it over and over. And the B-side is also very special, Flexible. Depeche Mode goes Zydeco, little Cajun style. Really, they tend to sound very traditional, but always tries to develop that into the new styles. So it's amazing band, as you have realized, I think. But it didn't become number 1 actually, because there was another song that still is much more 1985 to me, and it is much because of how it's made. The total fantastic masterpiece of composition. And we started in Germany, we're ending in Germany. The best song of 1981, sorry for not the perfect sleeve, but this is the number 1 song of 1995 is Propaganda and P Machinery. It started off with some machine sounding sound effects, moving over into a big and a little scary voice talking, power, force, motion, drive, power, force, motion, drive, and then goes into a fantastic synth pop sound. and amazing masterpiece. It's so fantastic composed, fantastic song that ever since I heard it first time, I just loved it. And also, when I was 10 years old and watched the video with the three of the members hanging in rafters and looking like zombie-like dolls, I was actually a little scared of the video back then. But today I think it's a fantastic, great video. So my absolute favorite songs, this might be one of the best songs ever, in my opinion. So of course it was number one in 1985. P Machinery, Propaganda. So, that was my 1985. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and my walkthrough this year. The next chart that I will show, or that we will do at this Facebook group, is 1981, and I will maybe show my 1981 video somewhere back somewhere in maybe February, March 2021. So until next video, I hope that every one of you have a real nice time in the autumn. Take care and so long.